Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel. This is my long-delayed spoiler review for Godzilla vs. Kong. I wanted to get this review out a lot sooner, but the week after I saw this movie and did my original review, my day job came back after over a year, so I've been getting into the groove of working that job. So if you've noticed a slow output in YouTube reviews, that's why. By June, I'll be back to a more regular flow. However, I'm actually glad that I waited this long to do my Godzilla vs. Kong spoiler review because this shirt came in. This was from Cavity Colors, and I just saw it on the internet and liked it a lot, so I ordered it. This is not a sponsorship. They are not sponsoring me at all. I just really love this shirt. So anyway, in my original spoiler-free review, I just mentioned that the plot is simply Godzilla vs. Kong. What is the actual plot of the movie? Well, Kong has been put in containment on Skull Island because there was a storm that pretty much wiped out the Iwi natives and a lot of the other islands. Plus, the scientist who's looking after him, played by Rebecca Hall, wants to protect Kong from Godzilla because the second Kong even leaves that containment, Godzilla will come hunting for him because they're two big rivals. But Godzilla has other plans. He is right now pissed at humanity for reasons I'll get into a little later. He attacks an Apex cybernetics facility in Florida, which is a company that we never knew about in the previous films, but basically, they're a cybernetics company, no other way to put it. And with that attack on the base, it seems like Godzilla is now an enemy towards humanity, or sees them as a threat. However, Madison Russell, played once again by Millie Bobby Brown, wants to try to get to the truth of it because she believes that there's something causing Godzilla to attack. He wouldn't just all of a sudden turn against humanity without a good reason. And that's why she and the conspiracy theorist podcaster played by Tyree Henry, along with Madison's high school friend who just tags along for no reason, try to clear Godzilla's name, essentially. And I gotta say, that's something I said in my original review that was the most tolerable, but watching this movie again, I went, oh no, this is one of the worst aspects of the movie. And mainly because we don't need conspiracy theorists to be the hero of the film. Now, I know this movie is mostly focused on Godzilla and Kong. They are the main characters. But in the days of QAnon and Alex Jones, we do not need a conspiracy theorist as a protagonist at all. I mean, there's a point in the movie where he even does the whole tap water conspiracy theory. Except in this movie, he believes that if you drink tap water, then the government will track you, rather than, as Alex Jones would put it, turn all the frogs gay. And while the crazy nonsense that this guy is saying is not harmful to people, I'm still not on board with that. So it's a terrible plot line. That aspect of the human element actually is the worst, and I did a complete 180 based on what I originally said. And then the kid who is in Hunt for the Wilder People in Deadpool 2 has no reason to be here at all. He's pretty much a punchline. The leader of Apex Cybernetics convinces an old Monarch scientist, played by Alexander Skarsgård, to try to journey down to Hollow Earth to gather a material that could help them defeat Godzilla or even kill him. And so he thinks, hey, Kong will lead the way because there's a theory that Kong's species, or all the monsters, originated from Hollow Earth and just came to the surface. So in a way, it's borrowing plot elements from King Kong Escapes, where they need Kong to dig up a rare mineral just to move the plot along. It's pretty much a MacGuffin in the same way Element X was a MacGuffin in King Kong Escapes. But the second you see the head of Apex Cybernetics, especially his daughter who accompanies the Kong team, you know that that dude's an instant villain right there. And plus, it's a Godzilla movie and he's running a company called Apex Cybernetics. And you just sit there and go, a cybernetics company in a Godzilla movie. Now, what character in the franchise could actually be connected to a cybernetics company? What pre-existing monster could pop up at any moment? And I think maybe in the biggest non-surprise in a while, even though the trailers didn't spoil this, at least not directly, Mechagodzilla's in the movie. The reason why Godzilla's provoked and why he sees humanity as a threat is because Apex Cybernetics has been creating Mechagodzilla, but they're also using the skull of Ghidorah that we saw at the end of King of the Monsters as a stinger. Which I gotta say, with that stinger right there, I didn't think that that would ever be resolved. I thought that that would be something that they would do for a third standalone Godzilla movie, but I didn't think that would happen considering that King of the Monsters didn't do as well as everyone hoped. It really did underperform. And granted, Godzilla vs. Kong is a big hit, but initially I didn't think this movie was going to be a hit either. Hey, good to be wrong in that aspect. So I actually appreciate that they followed up on that plot line. As for Mechagodzilla himself, I have been against this idea from the start because I always thought this is going to be a doomsday scenario in Batman vs. Superman where it comes out of nowhere and there'd probably be no reason to put Mechagodzilla in outside of fan service. And I gotta say, I was also proven wrong in that aspect, and I am so grateful for it. Mechagodzilla's inclusion is actually organic to the plot, so it doesn't come completely out of nowhere like that ugly turd of a monster called Doomsday. And this Mechagodzilla really is a nice blend of the first 3 incarnations. We can ignore Mechagodzilla City from the anime trilogy. I still don't know what the reasoning was to make Mechagodzilla a city. Like that, oh boy, let's just forget about that. This version of Mechagodzilla has a really cool look to it. I've heard some people say it kind of reminds them of the Michael Bay Transformers designs. It still looks like Mechagodzilla. There's enough in the design to where you can instantly look at it and go, yeah, that looks like Mechagodzilla, whereas the Michael Bay Transformers look like just a bunch of metal mashed into each other. But I like how Mechagodzilla's origin in this is like Mechagodzilla 2 in Kiryu, where it's built by humanity to defend the world from Godzilla, but it borrows elements from Kiryu in the sense that there's a DNA supercomputer that takes over its mind. In the Kiryu saga, it was the 1954 Godzilla, and in this movie, it was Ghidorah, which means Mechagodzilla in this movie is pretty much Ghidorah reincarnate, which is kind of terrifying that 2 of Godzilla's arch enemies are combined into one. And then because Ghidorah is an alien from outer space, that's where the inspirations from the Showa Mechagodzilla come in, because it all of a sudden turns into an alien war machine. And the fight between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla is pretty brutal. Mechagodzilla really does clean the floor with Godzilla, and Godzilla just doesn't even stand a chance. That is until Kong comes in after getting his ass kicked by Godzilla, which, by the way, Adam Wingard did say there was going to be a winner in this movie, and he stood by that statement because Godzilla won. I was on Team Godzilla from the very beginning, and I'm more happy with Godzilla winning just to see all the Team Kong people feel very disappointed because they were confident that King Kong was going to win the fight. I'm like, nope. No, you guys should have been on the winning team. That being said, I did feel real sympathy for Kong when he got beaten and when you actually saw the moment that Godzilla won. Because, man, Godzilla didn't have to be that brutal. Well, maybe he did. But anyway, Godzilla basically left Kong for dead, his heart's slowing down, but Alexander Skarsgård uses one of these hovercraft, or as I like to call them, Super X Light. They're called HEVs, but they kind of remind me of the Super X. Anyway, he uses one of them to basically charge up Kong's heart and bring him back to life. Then the little deaf Iwi girl convinces Kong that Godzilla's not the enemy, and we get a tag team match between Godzilla and Kong. And when the 2 of them are fighting together, not only are they able to overpower Mechagodzilla, where any single one of them couldn't, but I didn't think it was anything I ever needed to see, and I'm happy I saw it. Being able to see Godzilla and Kong team up together to fight Mechagodzilla. Wow, that really turned me into a kid again. And going back to Godzilla himself getting his ass kicked by Mechagodzilla, you might be wondering, if you're not familiar with the series, isn't Godzilla supposed to be the king of the monsters? He is just getting destroyed by Mechagodzilla. And to that I say, you're right. But that's been every single version of Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla throughout the years has always been tougher than Godzilla. And the only reason Godzilla has ever been able to beat Mechagodzilla is through some sort of interference, whether it's another monster, a human character, or just Deus Ex writing. And in the case of the Kiryu saga, he never beat Kiryu in those movies. Kiryu always won, or in Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, it was a draw, because Godzilla retreated into the ocean and Kiryu was heavily damaged. So Kong does deliver the final blow, but even then, when Kong is fighting Mechagodzilla on his own, he still has a lot of trouble with it, and it's not until Godzilla lights up this really cool axe that Kong finds in Hollow Earth that Kong is able to destroy Mechagodzilla. And then the two monsters kind of acknowledge each other, go their separate ways, and Kong has found a new home in Hollow Earth. Which, Hollow Earth, that's something I didn't think we'd ever expect to see. They've set up this Hollow Earth concept since Kong Skull Island, and they explain that as Godzilla's method for disappearing all of a sudden and moving all around the world so quickly. So to actually see it is something I didn't think they'd ever do. And with Hollow Earth and the entire history of Godzilla and Kong's rivalry, I feel like there's more movie potential to keep this franchise going. I mean, there is the hashtag Continue the Monsterverse, which I'm not on board with Restore the Snyderverse just because the fan base is just so bratty and whiny, and they're never going to shut the hell up about that. But with the Continue the Monsterverse hashtag, Legendary has been aware of that hashtag. There are talks about Adam Wingard coming back to do another Monsterverse installment that might be Son of Kong. So I would love to see this series continue. They can easily continue the series with Kong alone because Kong keeps switching hands a lot, but it's hard to say if Godzilla will come back. Legendary would ultimately have to renew the contract with Toho because Toho has final say in what happens with Godzilla. We'll ultimately see what happens. Final words on Godzilla vs. Kong. I am so happy that this is a good movie. I'm so happy that it was a big hit and not an underperforming disappointment that Godzilla King of the Monsters was. And I love the respect that this entire franchise has given to both monsters. With Kong Skull Island in this movie, I am so happy that we can finally see King Kong movies that can break away from the legacy of the 1933 movie and be their own thing. That's one of the biggest praises that I gave to Kong Skull Island, and that's one of the best parts about Kong in this movie as well. And as for Godzilla, I'm so happy to see that we have 3 American Godzilla movies where, whether the movies themselves are good or not, they still respected the legacy of the character and actually gave us an authentic Godzilla. It's crazy to think that we started with the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie where it was made by a director who not only didn't know about Godzilla, but didn't even like Godzilla, and was made by people who just wanted to make a giant monster movie and use the name Godzilla as a marketing tool. I'm not as angry with this movie as I was pre-Monsterverse, but that movie, I'm sorry, it is still an absolute insult to the legacy of the franchise. So to go from that to a movie where Godzilla is fighting Mechagodzilla and their beams lock, just like in the original 1974 movie, is something that I never would think I would see in an American big budget film. I mean, I was 7 years old when I first saw Roland Emmerich's Godzilla, and I remember not liking it even back then. And even though I still really like Godzilla vs. Kong as a 30-year-old man, this is the movie I wish I had got at 7 years old. Because it's clear Adam Wingard loves Godzilla. Even though this is very much Kong's movie, it doesn't feel like it was made by somebody who prefers one monster to the other. It feels like it was made by somebody who loves both franchises. And to that I have to say thank you, Adam Wingard. And there you go, that's my long-delayed spoiler review for Godzilla vs. Kong, which is coming out on May 4th, which is Star Wars Day. So once again, I do apologize for having this be delayed for as long as it was, but I hope you can understand the reasonings why. And if you somehow skipped the beginning of this video, I recommend you go back and see those reasons. In terms of ranking the 4 Monsterverse movies that we have, this might be my 3rd favorite. I still think Godzilla King of the Monsters is the weakest, and I like Kong Skull Island a tad more than this movie right here, but I still love the 2014 Godzilla. I still think that one is the best of the series, and some of it has to do with the fact that it's the first American Godzilla movie where they actually did the character justice, but there's just a lot that I love in that movie that you don't see often from other big budget blockbusters. And don't even be snarky in the comments about, yeah, one of them is Godzilla. Just don't. In terms of where it ranks among the theatrically released King Kong movies, it's number 5. It's sandwiched in between King Kong Escapes and Kong Skull Island. As for where I'd rank this among the Godzilla movies, Well, that's a list you're going to have to wait for. Netflix is going to be releasing Godzilla Singular Point in the United States next month, and I think that'll be a good time for me to make a Godzilla ranking video. That's something I actually wanted to do last year when I ranked the King Kong movies and the Gamera movies, but that's 30 plus movies, so that's going to take some time, but just stay tuned for that video next month. So again, that's my spoiler review for Godzilla vs. Kong. Thank you guys so much for watching. I also want to thank you all for helping me reach 5,000 subscribers. I passed 5,000 subscribers sometime last week, but I just didn't really mention it. I didn't want to mention it and thank you guys until this video right here. So again, thank you guys for helping me get to 5,000 subscribers. Let's try to keep that number going. Let's see if we can get to 6,000 by the end of this year. I think it could happen, and if it happens earlier than expected, let's try 7,000. But now I want to know what you guys think about Godzilla vs. Kong. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one. Hello everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my spoiler review for Godzilla vs. Kong. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button below. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.